Meditation, Mind and Patanjali's Yoga by Swami Bhaskarananda. Why we should meditate. Over the years, many people have come to me and said, Swami, I don't have any power of concentration. But there is no valid basis for such thinking. Everyone, even a child, can concentrate. While watching cartoons on TV, children display great concentration. At that time, their minds appear to be glued to the TV screen. It is not true that we cannot concentrate. What we lack is the ability to concentrate our minds on everything and under all circumstances. It is easy to concentrate on what is pleasant. The difficulty arises when we have to concentrate on something unpleasant. A student finds it hard to concentrate on a dull and uninteresting book, and a parishioner feels drowsy when listening to a boring sermon. Yet, all that is pleasant is not necessarily good. On the other hand, what is unpleasant may be good and beneficial. We must learn to concentrate on whatever we do, whatever unpleasant or pleasant, as long as it is beneficial for us. Meditation, which is no other than training in concentration, can enable us to do this. Concentration is indispensable in achieving success in life. Success in no area of human life can be attained without it. Swami Vivekananda used to say, the difference between a genius and an idiot is in their powers of concentration. Some say that meditation is good for health. It removes stress by relaxing the body and mind. It reduces high blood pressure. It helps slow down the aging process and improves memory. Some also say that meditation helps in gaining supernatural powers. While these claims may be true, the sages tell us that these are not the best reasons to meditate. Rather, meditation has a much higher purpose. The highest goal of meditation is God realization or experiencing the ultimate truth. According to the sages, we should meditate in order to achieve the highest goal of human life, experiencing divinity or the ultimate truth. It should be clearly understood that meditation or dhyana is only a means. It is not the goal itself. The most mature form of meditation is samadhi. In samadhi, the mind becomes free of all thoughts and is absolutely still. Patanjali calls this state of mind yoga. Even samadhi is only a means to an end. Samadhi has been described as the superconscious state of the mind. In that superconscious state, a spiritual aspirant goes beyond the domain of matter and experiences the inherent divine spirit. Swami Vivekananda has beautifully explained this in his monumental work Raja Yoga. When I eat food, I do it consciously. When I assimilate it, I do it unconsciously. When the food is manufactured into blood, it is done unconsciously. When out of the blood all the different parts of my body are strengthened, it is done unconsciously. And yet it is I who am doing all this. There cannot be 20 people in this one body. How do I know that I do it and nobody else? It may be urged that my business is only to eat and assimilate the food, and that somebody else does the strengthening of the body by the food for me. That cannot be, because it can be demonstrated that almost every action of which we are now unconscious can be brought up to the plane of consciousness. The heart is beating apparently without our control. None of us can control the heart. It goes on its own way. But by practice, men can bring even the heart under control until it will just beat at will, slowly or quickly, or almost stop. Nearly every part of the body can be brought under control. What does this show? It shows that we also perform the functions which are beneath consciousness. Only we are performing them unconsciously. We have then two planes in which the human mind works. First is the conscious plane, in which all work is always accompanied by the feeling of I. Next comes the unconscious plane, where the work is unaccompanied by the feeling of I. That part of the mind's work which is unaccompanied by egoism is unconscious work, and that part which is accompanied by egoism is conscious work. In the lower animals, this unconscious work is called instinct. In higher animals, and in the highest of all animals, man, what is called conscious work prevails. But the matter does not end here. There is a still higher plane on which the mind can work. It can go beyond consciousness. Just as unconscious work is beneath consciousness, so there is another sort of work that is above consciousness, and that also is not accompanied by egoism. The feeling of I is only on the middle plane. When the mind is above or below that plane, there is no feeling of I, and yet the mind works. When the mind goes beyond the plane of self-consciousness, it experiences samadhi or superconsciousness. But how do we know that a man in samadhi has not gone below consciousness, has not degenerated instead of going higher? In both cases, the experience is unaccompanied by the feeling of I. The answer is that by the effects, by the results of the work, we know which is below and which is above. When a man goes into deep sleep, he goes beneath consciousness. His body functions all the time. He breathes. Perhaps he moves the body in his sleep without any accompanying feeling of I. He is unconscious, and when he returns from his sleep, he is the same man who went into it. The sum total of the knowledge that he had before he went into sleep remains the same. It does not increase at all. No enlightenment comes. But when a man goes into samadhi, if he goes into it a fool, he comes out a sage. As this illumination with which a man comes back from samadhi is much higher than can be got from unconsciousness, or much higher than can be got by reasoning in a conscious state, it must therefore be superconsciousness. And so samadhi is called the superconscious state. This, in short, is the idea of samadhi. All theistic religions believe in the omnipresence of God. Among them, Hinduism most emphatically speaks of the presence of divinity in every human being. At any given point in time, divinity is equally present in all, but not equally manifested. The purpose of all spiritual practices, including meditation, is to fully manifest this inherent divinity. Only in the state of samadhi or yoga does this divinity become fully manifested. Then a person is said to have become a God-realized soul. This divinity is our true self. It forms the very core of our being. We can give up whatever is extraneous, but not that which forms the very core of our existence. Sooner or later, this true self, this divinity, must manifest itself. all without exception will eventually experience this divine self manifested in them in its infinite splendor. This is God realization. This is the inevitable goal of human life. Hinduism teaches that infinite bliss is one of the principal aspects of divinity. We all yearn to have joy. This longing is expressed through our craving for money, sense pleasure, name, fame, power, and position. Through all these cravings, we are unconsciously trying to reach our divine self, infinite bliss. No matter how much pleasure, money, power, or fame we have, we are never satisfied. We yearn for more. Finding lasting satisfaction through them is impossible because the joy derived from them is finite. Only infinite joy can satisfy us. Eventually, we realize that searching for infinite joy through finite and external means will lead us nowhere. This realization will inspire us to turn around and consciously search for that fountain of infinite bliss within. When we arrive at this perennial source of bliss, all our wants and cravings will disappear forever. We will then experience God, the all-pervading divinity, as supreme bliss both within ourselves and without, in everything that exists in this entire interminable universe. We will experience God as the essence of everything and every being. We will love all, even our enemies, because we will see no enemy anywhere. In this state, any interaction with the world will be a most joyous and rewarding experience because it is no other than directly interacting with God. We will see ourselves joyfully involved in a divine play where God is playing all the roles, including our own. We will no longer identify with our body-mind complexes, which are subject to birth, change, decay, and death. We will gain the unshakable conviction that we are the eternal divine spirit, deathless and birthless. Thus we will transcend all fear, suffering, and sorrow. The Bhagavad Gita, a well-known scripture of Hinduism, says, after gaining that experience, one thinks that there is no greater gain than that experience. And being established in that experience, one is not moved even by the heaviest of sorrows. Buddhism and Jainism also use various time-honored techniques of meditation. Their spiritual goal is to go beyond all types of suffering. Yoga, the most mature state of meditation, helps one to reach that goal. Methods of God realization. The 4 yogas. Besides what has been mentioned above, the Sanskrit word yoga also means a yoke or a link between the spiritual aspirant and God. In addition, the word yoga has another technical meaning. It means a technique or path by following which we can establish communion with God. Hinduism offers many different yogas or techniques to reach God. Out of them, 4 are most important as they correspond to the 4 broad categories into which Hinduism classes all spiritual seekers. These yogas are: number 1, Bhakti Yoga, or the path of devotion. This path is meant primarily for people who are temperamentally emotional and respond easily to love and affection. Number 2, Jnana Yoga, or the path of rational inquiry. This path is prescribed for people of rational temperament to whom reason appeals more than faith. Number 3, Raja Yoga, or the path of psychic control. Raja Yoga is for aspirants who are of meditative temperament with a natural yearning to completely master their minds. Number 4, Karma Yoga, or the path of right action. The path of Karma Yoga is the most attractive to people who are habitually very active. All these paths except for Karma Yoga prescribe their own kinds of meditation to experience divinity. The path of Karma Yoga teaches the practice of selfless action as a means to experience divinity. It does not teach meditation. Raja Yoga, however, puts maximum emphasis on meditation. This book will discuss the techniques of concentration offered by the above mentioned 3 yogas, but it will dwell more on those prescribed by Raja Yoga.